What's up, fight fans? It is Monday, the 19th of February, 2018, and this is the Monday Morning Analyst. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Luke Thomas. I am the host of this podcast. So last night in Austin, Texas, it was UFC Fight Night, Cowboy versus Medeiros, or of course UFC Austin. A pretty good night, actually. Some good fights all the way around, and including memorable moments from Nate Diaz and the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Great stuff. If you want a recap that I did last night on my own YouTube channel, you can check that out. I'll post it up here. It went through the entire card. But for today's podcast, let's focus on that main event. Donald Cerrone getting back to his winning ways against Yancy Medeiros. Now, why is that important? Well, one, he stops a 3-fight losing skid, so that's great. But two, he just sort of reminded you he's still got a lot left in the tank. Now, whether he'll contend for a title and who he'll face next and who he'll beat, I don't know. Cowboy's still adopting that attitude of anyone, anytime, any place, and that's why we love him. That's why he can run into trouble sometimes, but I think it's a lot of good news here for Cowboy Cerrone. He looked like a guy who was aware of his own weaknesses, but wasn't paralyzed by them, knew his strengths, and stuck to them. So let's do this. Let's take a look at some footage that I chopped up. What are the reasons why Cowboy Cerrone was able to defeat Yancy Medeiros last night at UFC Austin? I've got a couple of theories. I'll share those with you now. One of the critical insights to evaluating any kind of Donald Cerrone fight, whether he wins or whether he loses, is did he have enough time to make adjustments? Did he have enough time to make reads? And sometimes he does and he still loses, like in that Robbie Lawler fight. But most of the time, if he can get enough data to make a read, to bring his offense to life, to understand what's happening, and then make the adjustments, he usually has a pretty good chance of success. And he used a few tactics in this fight to give him that opportunity. I'm going to mention 4 things here that he did that were really important for that. I want to get to something else later he did offensively, but let's talk about some of the ingredients that he set up that were the kinds of things he needed to give him time to make adjustments, time to process everything, and then bring his game to life. Number 1, stance switching. You're actually going to watch some footage here in just a second. He actually starts out round 1 in southpaw. Now, he switched stances mostly to, I think, confuse Yancy, or at least slow Yancy down. If Yancy would switch, Donald would switch. Now, as the round went on, you're going to see he kind of more settled into an orthodox position. Sometimes he almost gets square, even if he's southpaw or if he's orthodox. His hips are almost forward. But to just make this point clear, he was trying to not let Yancy dictate all the creativity offensively where then he would get overwhelmed. He was switching too. I think that helped slow the fight down just a little bit to give him some help. Number 2, the second thing he did was, and this was not necessarily a major component, but it was early on, what was Yancy Medeiros trying to do? If you go back and you watch him, you're going to see him double up on the jab a lot or take a big high step to get in range and then throw a shot. One of the ways he wanted to counteract that was, particularly early from the southpaw position, body kicks. As Medeiros tried to charge his way in, he would catch him coming in with a body kick. Just a quick flick up the middle, again, either from the left or the right leg, depending on how the situation was arranged. But another thing where if this guy, what does he want to do? He wants to close the distance. He wants to get his punches going. He wants to come over the top. Although his coaches, by the way, were screaming at him to go to the body more. That the case of Yancy Medeiros. But you saw him trying to come over the top, over the top. If you're Cowboy Cerrone, you can catch this guy coming in, and you can slow him down a little bit. You add that to the stance switching, which may confuse him a little bit, may change some of his entries. Just buy him enough time to get what he needs, and of course, that would help. So the stance switching, kicks to the body, those are 2 big ingredients. The third is just parry and move. You're going to see the way this works is that Donald Cerrone kind of counterfights, basically, at this point. He'll lead certain exchanges. He'll be proactive sometimes. But in this contest, I think they knew that you're going to have this double jab from Medeiros. You're going to have him trying to, at a bare minimum, he's just going to be coming forward. So they want to just wait. And so a lot of times he just gets out of the way, parries and gets out of the way, parries and gets out of the way, and then resets for the next exchange to put him on a better space. So he wasn't just trying to answer back all the time. He wasn't trying to catch him coming in all the time. There is some of that which we're going to get to, but I just want to point out a lot of it is, wait a second, hold on. You don't have to have every exchange be the exchange where you win this fight, where you set up the ending. Just keep Let the fight breathe a little bit. Let it breathe. Keep moving. Keep taking in data. Make those reads. And you saw about like 2.5, 3 minutes in, he just really began to open up, and because that's when his combinations really began to start flowing. And then last but not least, initiate the takedown. You saw this a few times, especially early on. He tried to hit a knee tap, couldn't get it. In fact, Yancy Medeiros, I thought, actually had really good takedown defense in this contest. But this is what I mean. If you know this guy's coming forward and you know you need time and it's going to take you some time to make those adjustments, in this case 2.5, 3 minutes, then what you need to do is you have to find a way to slow him down. So you can switch stances, you can catch him coming in, you can initiate the takedown, and of course you can just parry and get out of the way. So those 4 things he did pretty well. Now, all of those things you can basically see in the first minute of the first round. Well, there's only one round, but the first minute of the round. So let's take a second. Let's go watch some of that footage. You just heard me mention those 4 things. Look at how many of those you'll see show up in the first round of this fight. Okay, here we are. First minute of the round. Just watch this as I talk through this. You're going to see he answers back here, but look at first of all the stance. He's in the left-handed stance, parrying away. You see him getting out of the way there. He switches stance a little bit, catches him with that kick coming in. Right, all the things we kind of talked about. Switches stance there to mimic what Yancy is doing. Right, you see that? Going back out there, switching stances all the time. And he looks kind of square, so you can miss it. And then he initiates a takedown, and it misses. But again, you can see Yancy coming in with that double jab, trying to find his way in, and Cowboy parrying, getting out of the way, absorbing, reading. You see that moving, trying to just stay off the back of the fence, observing, switching stances when he needs to. Now he's in that orthodox position, and you're going to see something about this in just a minute. But just pay attention to some of these details here. Catching with a kick coming in, circling, getting out, initiating the takedown if he has to, and just getting out of the way. This was a lot of what the fight was really about, was just collecting data, faking that takedown there, backing him up, getting his back off the fence. We've all talked about what it means to be behind the 2 black lines. Now, that's just a little bit of the smaller stuff. Let's combine that with a lot of the bigger stuff. Do you guys remember this combo? I bet you do. It's a famous one, right? Hitting it on Rick Story. It's one of the great combos, really, in MMA history. Donald Cerrone hitting it in an incredible way. But it sort of occurred to me, I was watching the fight last night, and I was like, well, he didn't hit this combo exactly, but he hit something like it. It turns out that for Donald Cerrone, he did all that other stuff to buy him time, to keep him safe, to be able to make the reads that he needed to then bring his game to life. But this is his game coming to life. And it all centers around 2 punches. It is a right to the body and a left upstairs. Now, you can add other stuff to that. Punches after it, punches before it, a kick after it, potentially even a kick before it, although we haven't exactly seen that. But the core, the nucleus of it, right hand to the body, left hand upstairs. This was one of the more brilliant examples of it against Rick Story, and that's great. But you actually see this combo in its nucleus several times in the course of this fight. Let's take a look at that footage. I made a highlight of all the times he used that combo, right to the body, left upstairs, in the course of this fight. And what you're going to see is it was actually pretty central to his offense. Let's go through the footage, and then I want to talk about what we're looking at here. This is all the times you see this in this contest. Right to the body, left upstairs. Right? A little bit later. Right to the body, left upstairs. Doesn't add a whole lot behind it. We're still early in the fight, right? Here it is. Here comes Yancy in. Right to the body, left upstairs. Right to the body, left upstairs. And then the finishing sequence, here we go. Right to the body, left upstairs. And then he finishes it with another right over the top. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that this combination, you can see here the finish. And it's another right hand that he adds on top afterwards, sort of like the left kick that Rick Story throws. He threw, you know how he added the kick at the end on the Rick Story combo? That right hand was sort of like that. But this is my point. That was really what he was looking for. I don't know that he knew that was going to end the fight, but he likes to build off what he knows. Slow the fight down. Let me input what I see coming. If a kick is available, I've done a whole thing on all the kicks. I think he's got some of the most kick finishes. It wasn't like he knew he was going to finish him with this combo. But I think what they did know was that it was going to be hard to maintain distance. Because you saw Yancy coming in constantly, right? Constantly forcing his way inside. Jumping in if he had to. And he was trying to punch over the top a little bit. So I think they knew if this guy's going to be pressuring us, it's going to be hard harder to establish a game at kicking range, the hands are going to be important. This combo, right to the body, left upstairs, is something he goes back to over and over and over again, and it works well. Why? Well, go back to the Rick Story combo. What do you notice there? He throws it after Story has extended on the left. Why is that important? Because Story is a southpaw. That means he catches it, or I should say, Cerrone initiates it after Story throws his heaviest shot. When his weight is the most sort of locked out in position, right? He has to sit down on that punch, and he's throwing his cross. Not like a jab he can flick and bring back. He has gone to the well positionally. So he's locked in that space. That's what Cerrone does here virtually every time. He likes to typically catch it off of a cross, but he can actually get it off of a jab too, depending on what the reactions are. He can parry it and go downstairs and then come up to the top. He usually likes to wait for the cross to come over because it's the same thing with Rick Story. Your weight is going either down or forward, depending on how you're throwing it, and that gives him enough space to get out of the way, body, head, and then build something else on top of it. Let's watch this one more time just for proof here. Watch what he does. There's that, he does it off the jab there, right? Body, head. Here it comes, cross, body, head. You see it exact same way, right? Let's watch it again. Yancy's going to come in. He's going to come with the jab, and then Cerrone gets out of the way, and then he does it himself there. He doesn't use necessarily the other part, right? Here it comes, body, head. Same thing, off the cross. And then the final sequence, it's off the cross again, and he goes body, head, and then top to the head again. Here, right? Look, jabs his way in, cross, gets out of the way, boom, boom, boom. It's the same thing over and over again. They knew that this guy was going to be coming at him. They knew that this guy was going to try and close the show by just probably headhunting a little bit and then getting inside that space. Having a combination, or having a series, I should say, of steps to slow the fight down, to at least put the brakes on him a little bit. You know he's going to keep driving in, but if you can slow him down a little bit by getting out of the way, by switching stances, by catching him with a body kick as he comes in, and then once you're inside punching range, as he's going with the jab, or more likely the cross, you go back to your bread and butter. You go back to the well. You go back to what you know you can do. Put things together, body, head, and in this case, Yancy had his hands out, so Cerrone knew where he was. He put another right hand on top of it. I love this combination. I love everything about it. I love a guy knowing I've got a two-punch combo I can go to that lands really well, and I can build. It's modular. He can build things on top of it. He can set up the entry a little bit, and he can add other things at the end depending on what else is happening. This is a great win for Donald Cerrone. It's not just a great win because he stopped the bleeding from the 3-fight losing streak, but he won off like the kind of offense that is not, it isn't that stylistically looks like him. That's his game. He didn't win by luck. He didn't win by, he got rocked and then just threw up a triangle and, oh yeah, look, your jiu-jitsu saved you. This body head combo that he has used all the way back to the Rick Story fight, he was able to bring back here again, and he was able to use that, as we mentioned, by giving just enough trouble to Medeiros to slow him down, to give himself chances to read everything, and then go through it again. I love this win by Donald Cerrone. I love this combo that he has. I love how modular it is. This wasn't just a Donald Cerrone victory. This was a Donald Cerrone victory, right? He really put his mark on this. It has all the fingerprints of a Donald Cerrone kind of win, and it really was pretty incredible. So great job by him. Anticipating exactly what kind of game Medeiros was going to give him. Great job by him in switching stances when he needed to, in parrying and getting away, in throwing that kick to the body, initiating the takedown just to slow him up a little bit, and when he was in close range, off the jab, or more likely the cross, bringing back that old Rick Story combo, body with a right hand, upstairs with a left, and then finish when you can build something else on top of it. Pretty great job by Donald Cerrone. And last but not least, we take a look at what's coming up in the week ahead. You've got UFC on Fox. What number is this? 28. Let's see. This will take place at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. In your main event, I can't believe it's a main event, but it is. Josh Emmett taking on Jeremy Stevens in a featherweight contest. Jessica Andrade is back against Tisha Torres. Ovince St. Preux against Ilir Latifi, and then Mike Perry versus Max Griffin to open the card. On Fox, which will also carry this portion of the preliminary card, Henan Barrow versus Brian Kelleher, Sarah McMahon versus Marion Renault, Angela Hill versus Marina Moroz, and then Ben Saunders is back, Killer B against Alan Jouban. Your UFC Fight Pass card, Gilbert Burns, Dorino taking on Olivier Aubin Mercier, Sam Alvey versus Marcin Prochnio. Hani Yaya versus Russell Doan. Eric Shelton taking on Alex Perez. And then Albert Morales taking on Manny Bermudez. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What did you like? What did you hate? Shoot me an email, lukethomasnews@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, enjoy the fights.